everyone, welcome back to another episode of Backstage Spotlight. Today we have Hannah Lowther. Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm so excited to have you on. I mean, we've been planning this for so long. I think it's
I
been so
know.
hard to get you on. You're so busy.
I'm a busy girl, but also I'll always make time for you, Matilde, because I love you.
Hannah. Thanks, Hannah. Love you too. Love you too.
Say it back. Yeah, thank you.
So, those people listening, would you like to just give a little insight to what you're doing in the industry at the moment and how you got into the industry?
Yes. Okay. So currently I am an alternate in Six the Musical in the
Woo!
West End. Woo, represent. Um, and I guess my journey into the industry hasn't been linear. It's been up and down and around the houses. But I guess, well, I trained in musical theatre, and that was, the dream, and that was what I've always wanted to do since I can remember. And then COVID happened just after I'd graduated. So I just thought, oh, it's already a tough industry as it is, and I'm already like not really, getting anywhere with auditions and stuff like that. And I was like, and now there's another hurdle. But then I started making, so I kind of thought, genuinely thought, it's never going to happen. And I always say that, and people are like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yeah, I genuinely thought this is not happening. I'm gonna have to start thinking of another career. Um, but I then started making TikTok, which is like my shining beam of hope. Which I didn't realize it was at the time, I guess. I think like in lockdown, we all just downloaded TikToks, didn't we? And it was like fun. It wasn't obviously people on YouTube had jobs on YouTube, and Instagram people, there was influencers, like it was a thing already. But I think like social media like kicked off, not yeah, it kicked off over COVID. Um, Coronavirus. Anywho, so I started making TikToks, and my account continued to grow, and I kind of just never let it go. I kind of was like, I'm never letting this be like 5 minutes of fame. Like I just want to like keep going and keep
Yeah.
growing. And that's kind of what I did. And it led on to me being cast in Heathers, which then it opened a lot of doors for me, helped me really get my foot in the door. And yeah, that led to me being cast in Heathers, and that led, then kind of my career kicked off from there. And then I went on to do a couple of smaller projects, and I did the UK tour of the SpongeBob musical, which I didn't know was a thing, but it is a whole thing. And yeah, and I did that last year, which was a whole whirlwind. And now I'm in Six, which has been honestly the dream show for years. But when I tell you that I watched the show back in 2018, or I think when it just started, and I I thought that was an amazing show, but I didn't watch it and think I could be in that. I watched it and thought, wow, those girls are incredible. Like I never watched it and thought, maybe I didn't have much self-belief at the time. But when you're in training and you see these incredible people and you're like, I I really appreciate you as a performer, and I really appreciate the show, but I am I ever gonna be able to do that? So
Yeah.
now, like when I'm actually doing it, I'm like, I can't believe it's when I went on for Heather Chandler. I think that was one of the first things. I saw Heather's like 3 times before I was in it. And every time I saw it, I was like, wow, that would be great. Like I'd love to be in the ensemble of that show. I never thought about like aiming for a cover or ever playing a lead, because I just thought like, oh my gosh, no, that's not within my capabilities. And then like, as you learn on the job and as you grow and you have that self-belief, and then sorry, I've been rambling for so long. But that's, yeah, I think when I went on for Heather Chandler for the first time, I was like, wow, like I can actually do it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's been crazy.
What a journey. I mean, that is a roller coaster. It's
Yeah,
from where you started to where you are now. I mean, you just should be so proud of yourself because
thanks, mate.
I bet you couldn't believe it when, if you looked back from when you were younger to now, you'd be like, what the heck?
Yeah, I would be screaming, crying, throwing up. Like when I think back, I don't know. I used to just watch musicals all the time, and I would cry. Like I would sit there and cry because like I just love musicals, and I'd watch it and be like, I want to be up there.
Yeah.
And I would like the opening, like boom would start, and I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
like it would, like it just hits you, doesn't it? And it's like when you're so passionate about something, like I'm so lucky that I am so passionate about something, because it's like, you know, there's, you know, people in my life and people I know that they've never really had that one thing that they love.
Mm.
And they're like, you're, you know, you're so lucky that you've known what you wanted to do from such a young age, and like
Yeah.
you can really like focus and hone in on that. And like I always think that as well. Like I am so lucky to, yeah, to just know what I want to do
Yeah.
and be able to focus on it. And then obviously COVID like put a real spanner in the works, because I genuinely, my thought process was, well, I'm not getting, I wasn't getting loads of auditions at the time when I just graduated. I just did Panto, and I wasn't getting loads of auditions. And the auditions I did do wasn't for things that I was like really desperate to do. And I wasn't really getting anywhere with them either. And I was like, wait, I can't even like get the auditions that I don't want to get. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't even get through the auditions that I don't even want that job, you
Yeah.
know?
It didn't mean
It's
as
not
much
even the
to you.
dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, so I kind of lost a bit of love for it already. And then COVID happened, and my thought process was like, all these incredible performers that are employed in jobs right now, who've all just had essentially their jobs ripped away from them. For how long was it? Like until the industry opened, like a year and a half?
Yeah.
Was it a year and a half? Or maybe a year, but over a year.
Yeah.
I thought, well, they're not going to employ little old me who's never done a job before apart from Panto to come in. You know, they're gonna, all these people who've just lost their jobs there, they're gonna get cast first, and all the people that were already like getting to the finals, and they're gonna, you know. But it's been a really weird time, I think, for the industry. And like, yeah, but I've just been very, very lucky that I managed to get my foot in the door when I did. And yeah, it's just kind of like catapulted
Mm.
into this thing, this brand.
People who are graduates just leaving college, what advice would you give for taking that step into the industry? What do you wish you knew when you were freshly graduated before?
Um, I wish I knew that you have to have something else. As much as you can be so passionate about performing and what you're doing and your auditions and being focused on them, I feel like I learned this on Heather's, but you have to find some joy in other things in your life. And you have to like find fulfillment out of other things other than just booking the job. Because if that's the, if just booking the job and getting an applause is the only thing that brings you joy, you know, and then you're an actress that is out of work, like you lose your self-worth, because you're like, the only thing that makes me feel like I'm worth anything is if I've booked a job. And I think that comes along with the culture of kind of drama school and everyone competing. And I think as soon as you learn that, you know, what other things in life is gonna help you in your performing, you
Mm.
know, other things, life experience, other jobs that aren't performing jobs are gonna, you know, they're gonna help you as a human being. And sometimes booking the job isn't even always just about your skill. It's about, you know, who you are as a human and what you bring to the audition as a person, rather than how high you can kick your leg.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of wish I knew that. And I think when I first went into Heather's, like I put my all into that job, and you know, I went into a state of burnout, I think. And I think I'm still off the back of that, because since Heather's, it's honestly been pretty much back to back nonstop.
Non-stop.
And then in the period where I was, you know, waiting for my next job to start, I got a dog. And so like, as much as that wasn't working,
Talk about
I,
burnout. Get a
yeah, talk about burnout, get a dog and then feel the burnout, and then like doing the content as well. And I feel like I'm definitely still like coming off the back of that burnout,
Yeah.
which is mad because that was like 2 years ago.
Let's talk about work-life balance, because you are prime example of workaholic, love her job.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so important to talk about how what's important about working and doing something you love, but then recognizing that it is actually work. And I feel like because the graft is so hard and the passion is so intense, you don't realize that it's work. And then you come home and you sit down and you're like, whew, like this is my relaxation time, even though you
Yeah.
might think that creating content, doing the show is you like relaxing because you're having a good time. What is your experience with work-life balance and how do you manage it?
I feel like you've worded that really well already. But I think it stems from, I've always said this, it stems from the fact that like a lot of people as kids do performing as a hobby. And
Yes.
a lot of people consume social media and post on social media as a hobby for their friends, like not as a job. So because, people don't, I mean, like if you're a lawyer, you're not like being a lawyer as a hobby before you do it as a job, really, are you? Unless you're giving friends advice, like you go straight into earning money as
Mhm.
a lawyer. And obviously you train for it and stuff, but yeah, so I think having that as a basis is also why people potentially don't take people in our industry seriously and take this as a serious job.
Mhm.
And I feel like, especially on TikTok, I'm always having TikTok, I just said TikTok. I'm always having to like explain myself. People say, "Hi, do you get paid?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like it's
It's a
a
job.
job." But they don't teach, they like maybe they don't teach it in schools, or it's not recognized as a proper thing. So I think like getting your head around that to start with, we are working up, we're up against it really. um because you see a teacher and you don't think, oh, do you get paid? Like of course they get paid because it's a
Yeah.
job to you know um so in terms of work-life balance, it's definitely something I'm still working on. um for me, I think recently it's been like, wow, I really am working two full-time jobs. And then people are like, wait, but performing isn't full-time because you only do it in the evenings. And I'm
Ah.
like, okay, let me stop you right there. Because yes, today my call time isn't till 6 o'clock. I'm commuting into London.
Yeah.
It's not
You've
just
just
like
had a meeting, you're doing this podcast.
yeah.
Like it
It's not like
builds
you're
up.
just rocking up and doing the show. There's a lot of prep that goes into having a sustainable career and getting through a show sustainably.
Mm.
Um, and as much as, I don't start work till 6 and I'll finish before 10, which is only 4 hours of work, like, people kind of don't understand that
Mm.
it's a whole day thing. As much as I have spare time in the mornings, because I get home at 10. Well, no, I don't get home at 10, sorry. Say I finish by 10, I then commute home, I'm home by 11:30. And then I have my wind down routine,
Yeah.
which for a normal person, if they finish work at 6 and go to bed at, say, 10, it's like 4 hours.
Mm.
I obviously don't take 4 hours after 11:30, but like maybe I'm in bed by 1. And that gives me what, 11:30, 12:30,
An hour.
1. I'm not good at maths. An hour and a half to wind down in the evenings, which isn't very long.
No.
And that's like to eat my dinner, wind down, and then like getting your 8 hours sleep in. I can't be up at 7 a.m. to go to the gym like normal people, not normal people, but some people do before they go
Yeah.
to work. So I don't know, it's a very different lifestyle change that you know, I'm definitely still trying to find the balance in.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think I definitely learned on my first job that, you need to realize that it's a job. And as much as you're passionate about it, you still have rights as a performer and as an employee, you still have rights. I think
On
it very
equity.
pardon?
Equity.
Yeah, get that equity. Well, yeah, I don't know. But you still have rights. And like I think often we're just kind of, you should be grateful just to be working. And it's like, well, would you tell a lawyer that they should be grateful to be working?
Yeah.
No, probably wouldn't. I know nothing against lawyers. I don't know why I keep like going on about them. It's giving Elle Woods. But I think you have to kind of learn that it's a job. And at the end of the day, there is someone at the top of that chain probably making a fair amount of money out of you.
It's business.
It's business, people pay for tickets for the show.
Yeah.
Six is sold out every night. And it's incredible. Like, I'm so grateful to be in a show that's like got that vibe, like just full
Yeah.
houses and excitement. But the show sold out every night. Like,
It's
as performers, we have to like be like, okay, so all of
has
these
to
people are
deliver. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, it's I can't remember what the question was because I just rambled.
Yeah, I can't, but
But yeah, definitely, I'm definitely still learning. Um, but I think moving out of London, I recently moved out from West London, like a little bit further out. So my commute is longer and going into London feels like a bit more of a trek. It's not actually that far. Like it takes me like an hour and a half door to door. Fine.
that's decent actually.
It's decent, but like before it was like 45 minutes door to door.
Yeah.
So like, and I know it's only 45 minutes different. Excuse me, little burpy burp there. Um, get that on the pod. It's only 45 minutes difference, but it is further and there's more elements to the journey and like all things like this that just like now I'm like, okay, I'm going to work tonight rather than just, oh yeah, I'm just hopping on the tube and popping into London and doing a little show and going home. Like now I'm like, here's my commute to
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
like a businesswoman.
Oh, brilliant. So you know how in like Heather's you had like hidden gems backstage, and I know like a few people have done TikToks of what their routine was backstage, like while the show was going on. In Six, I know it's probably a bit different because as an alternate, you're in different roles. But is there anything that you do backstage every night when you're on for a specific role?
So every night we there's like a rostra that we stand on at the back and then the curtains open and we walk through and it's like iconic. I mean, you came to watch it the other week, right?
Oh, so good.
Iconic. But every time we're waiting there, we get standby. So we're all kind of waiting, just chatting. But because we've got our in-ears in, we can't really hear each other speaking.
Yeah.
So like I can only hear if I'm speaking like this, I can't hear myself. And I have to speak into my mic so that I can hear myself, but no one else can hear me.
Ah,
It's a very like out of body experience. So like if anyone wants to speak to me, I have to give them my mic to speak into my mic so that I can hear it
yes.
through. Really random. But anyway, so when we get standby, which is like, okay, we're starting, I always just go like beheaded or survive, like whatever track I'm doing, I
Yeah.
just make sure I say it into my mic just so that I like that's me telling myself you're doing this track today.
Yeah.
Um, because sometimes like you just go into
Imagine you're on for Berlin. Survived.
yeah. No, but everything inside me sometimes, like especially when I'm on for park, it's just to wait till the very end. And I'm
Yes.
waiting there, and also like you're holding a bevel, and because it's pitch black behind you, you know when you're like, you know when you're stood, and if they turned all the lights off, you would like lose your balance.
Yeah.
Or like if you know when you're like doing a releve, I don't know what it's called. I need to go back to class. But you know when you're like doing a releve or something, and then they're like, okay, now close your eyes, and I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
right. So at
And you're
the start of
like
the show, pitch
perception.
black
Yeah.
behind her, and I'm stood in the bevel, literally 2 feet on the floor. Like, why would I fall over? 2 feet on the floor, and as soon as those lights go out, I'm like, whoa, like I'm literally squeezing so hard, like I'm focusing on not falling over, both feet on the floor, just adding that again. Um, and everything inside me just like I'm going survived, survived, survived in my head because I'm like I can't get this wrong. And sometimes I bring the mic to my face and I'm like I have to tell myself to what word to say. And sometimes my like inner saboteur wants to just be like divorced. Really bad. I've never even done divorced. I've not done and I don't think I will, hopefully not do either of
Oh,
divorce. I've never said it. But I don't know why I always just like feel myself wanting to like sabotage. Can
imagine.
you imagine? Divorce survived. No, last night we had a bit, well, last night was my first par show in maybe like 3 weeks, which isn't that long. Um, but I've been on for Howard
Yeah.
a couple of weeks
And
and
when it's in
then
your brain and then you have to
I had a
speak.
holiday for a week. And
Yeah.
then I was on for par last night and I didn't go over anything. I was like, oh, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. And then opening chat. So we do the opening number and then there's like an opening chat, but it's a scene, but it's very like set to music. It's very fast paced and it's like bam, 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 telling the audience like what's about to happen in the show. Because
Yeah.
it's a competition. Spoiler. Everyone's like, girl, we've seen it, we know the story. And then I forgot to say one of my lines. I was pretty embarrassed. I go because Nikki Bentley was back. She'd been off for a while, so Nikki Bentley was back, and she went riffs to ruffle your ruffs. Did this sick riff, and I was like listening to her riff because I'm like, I missed that riff, forgetting that I had the next line,
Then you were
and
like,
that's and no, she goes, riff to ruffle your ruffs, or whoa, whoa, whatever she sings. I haven't done a warm up, so I'm not going to do it. And I meant to say shimmies to shake up your chemise, and then it goes on the music. So like, there's no time for you to forget your lines because it's like
Yeah.
the music. And I forgot to say it, and there was silence, and I went nothing. And then on the I was like, shimmies to shake up your chemise. I just forgot. I forgot.
Oh, well,
But
it
it is
happens
what
to
it
the
is.
best of us.
It is what it is. And actually, after the show, someone at stage door went, "Oh, did someone forget their line?" I was like, "Oh yeah, who was that?" Wasn't me.
Hilarious. What would you say was your best, like, standout moment so far from being part six?
Um, oh my gosh, I don't know. I feel like classic would just to say like your debuts. But
Yeah.
honestly, my Berlin debut was really fun. My
Yes.
Par and Howard debuts were not fun. In
De-stress.
fact, I would actually go as far to say I hated it. And
Oh,
like I came off stage and was like, I never want to do that again. Like I want to quit. Like I honestly hated it, but it's just terrifying. And as alternates, we don't get as much rehearsal time.
yeah.
Um, I'd never done it on stage with six people.
Wow.
Um, so, and I'm
Pressure.
not trying to be like, oh, poor us, but like kind of,
Yeah.
there's
It's
quite a lot of
fun.
yeah, and I felt, I mean, like, I don't want to get too deep, but like, I found there was a lot of expectation for me, and I've obviously built up my platform and built up a big
Yeah.
hype around the job. Like, I did a whole reveal when I booked the job, like professionally filmed. Like, I went full out with feeling, and so I kind of did it myself. Like I built up this hype around the job, and because that's kind of my job to do, to
Absolutely.
like build my own personal brand. But I felt a lot of pressure and
Mm.
expectation. So I didn't tell anyone the date of my debut, but obviously
It blew
it's straight on
out.
the internet.
Yeah.
And the Mega Six is straight on the, like, you're openly allowed to film at the end of the show.
Mm.
And like there's like a video of me as Par. And obviously, like as soon as that video gets put out, it's the first time anyone's ever seen me in Six the musical.
Everyone
Like
comments
it was
on
a
it.
big thing. Like everyone's commenting on it, everyone's having their two pence. And there was a video and we doing the bows, and I was like, I've never done the bows,
Mm.
because when we're doing our dress rehearsal or rehearsal, you kind of skip those bits because it's like just the easy parts. And you've got your inners in, the audience are cheering, you can see them going, oh, but you can't hear them.
Yeah.
So it's like out of body experience.
Yeah.
Um, and someone like zoomed in on me, and all the comments were like, Hannah looks scared and lost and uncomfortable. I was like, I was. I was scared and lost and uncomfortable because, like, lot happened in that show. A lot was going on, and like a lot's going on in my head, and I don't know. So those debuts are like kind of traumatizing.
Yeah. It's
Um,
like the step that has to be done before then you can
it
really.
has to be done, and everyone's like, "Oh, did you feel like incredible?" And I was like, "No." I wanted to do the bow and be like, "Oh my God, what a moment. I'm crying. This is such an emotional, like we've made it." And I was literally like, I'm crying because I want to get off stage immediately.
Yeah. And also, like, this show, you're on stage for like a good solid, like the whole of it,
Yeah.
apart from when,
Yeah.
think, tell me if I'm wrong, apart from when you go get your House of Holbein things.
Yeah. So we go off like three times in the show, depending on what track. So Par goes off three times. Howard only goes off twice. But you go off after Heart of Stone to get your ruffs and your glasses. You go off after, I don't know when, after House of Holbein. Yeah, after House of Holbein and the intro to Anne of Cleves. And then you go off at the end of All You Want to Do. So if you're Howard, you don't go off at the end of All You Want to Do. You've
Yeah.
just done the sweatiest number. You're like, and then you're like, oh, breathing. And you have no chance to dry your sweat. And I like, if you watch, like my face comes back to the front and I'm like, I'm terrifying because I'm just like dripping with sweat. Um, sorry, I feel like I talked about like my least favorite moments of the show rather than my favorite moments, which I know was the
Oh
question.
yeah, that was the question.
I loved my Berlin debut. Like that was so fun. And I think because I'd done the show so much by that point, I was just super comfortable, and I was on stage with, a group of people that I was now super comfortable with. We've been working together for however many months, and I felt really supported, and just like really excited. And I think Berlin was always, Berlin was like always the one that I was like, I want to play Anne Boleyn in Six.
Yeah.
you know, and then when I got cast as Howard and Parr, I was like, oh, do you want to check that? Like, is there a mistake there? I thought,
That's an unusual pairing, isn't it?
yeah, I was like, Howard and Parr, right? Um, but like obviously I was buzzing,
Yeah.
but in my reaction video, I did like a YouTube vlog of it. And like everyone's like, oh, have you got a video of you finding out you got a job? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not really gonna like post it massively because I was literally like, oh, Howard and what? I was like, oh my God, I'm so happy. I was like, oh, okay.
So
So
isn't
like
that because they haven't done that before, have they?
no, I don't think so. They might have like a couple of years ago or maybe originally or something.
Yeah.
Um, but I was obviously really excited and that it was just more of a challenge. And then when I was debuting as Par, my first ever time doing Six Musical, I was playing Par, and I'd seen all the comments, everyone being like, "She doesn't suit Par." I was like, "You
Oh,
haven't seen me do it, so
yeah.
how would you
Oh,
know that?" People were like, "She doesn't suit Par." She blah blah blah, and I was like, "Obviously, we don't listen to the haters,
yeah.
but you can't ignore it sometimes." And it's something I'm working on with my therapist. Okay, um, but it's. I saw all those comments, and so I just felt like everyone was just out to see me not suit Par.
Oh,
But
yeah.
actually, I love doing Par,
Yeah.
and she's kind of just chilled
Mm.
throughout the show, and
Haters
then she
back
gets a good
off.
old warm up. You what?
Haters back off.
Haters back off. Um, she waits till the very end of the show, and she has a nice warm up. She's chilling, and then she gets to sing her song at the end. But
Yeah.
Berlin's kind of different because Berlin does her number like second.
Yeah. And she's
So
like all fired up.
all
Go.
fired up. I've just done the opening. We've just done No Way, which is quite heavy, like choreo for the ensemble. And then straight into Don't Lose Your Head. So it's like, grew up in the French school. But then once you've done it, it's like cute. And now I
Yeah.
can kind of not chill for the rest of the show, but I don't need to stress about like making sure I'm like vocally,
Yeah. Doing your little glottal.
yeah, all of that jazz. All that jazz. And it's very dry out on that stage. Whew.
Yeah. And you can't just warm up like before one of those big numbers. You can't just be like, 1 second audience, 1 second everybody.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's all or nothing in this show.
Yeah.
Obviously, other shows, you go off in between scenes or in between numbers, and some tracks are obviously throughout. Like Veronica essentially doesn't have time to leave the stage hardly at all in Heather's, but like other tracks, like Heather Chandler, she goes off for like a big
Get a
chunk of
drink.
time,
Yeah.
get a drink, check over my script. Whereas with Six, once it starts, it's like bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. Terrifying,
Yeah. Yeah.
actually terrifying, but I love it now.
Fun, but fun.
Favorite,
And
yeah,
thrilling.
favorite moments probably just like just doing the show every night. I know it sounds so silly, like not the debuts, the cursed debuts, but every other show, I'm honestly just like living my best life, truly.
It's the dream.
It is.
Let's do a quick fire question round. Anything and everything could come out of my mouth right now. I'm doing it on the spot, so.
Okay, okay, improv.
Favorite color,
Purple,
favorite animal,
dog, my dogs.
favorite your dog. All the way, all the way. Favorite musical.
6.
Yeah. Controversial. Is it? Favorite queen in Six.
We're not allowed to have favorites. We don't have favorites because they're all equally iconic.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
it.
Howard.
Favorite theatre in the West End.
Oh, the other palace off West End,
Favorite country.
New York. That's not a country. I guess USA, but like not the whole USA, just like New York.
Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor.
Um, Coffee flavor,
Oh, that's very rogue, but I like it. I
yeah.
like it. Favorite chocolate bar.
Crunchy.
Same. They're so good.
Oh, I don't know, maybe favorite, but I do love a crunchy.
Yeah, like if you
Crunchy.
go to a corner shop, what would you get?
I'd get a crunchy.
Yeah, same. They're so good. They're so good.
Mhm.
Favorite drink.
Oh, Coke.
Yes, diet, zero,
Oh,
full
what's
fat.
that? What's that?
Full fat. Yeah. What's your meal deal?
Okay, chicken, bacon, and stuffing sandwich, or if
Mm.
it's Christmas, the turkey and trimming sandwich, 10 out of 10. It honestly depends. normally a smoothie. I just try and get it as expensive as possible and then like see the numbers come down.
Yeah.
Normally like a smoothie of some sorts or like a peach iced tea or something. And ready salted hula hoops.
Ooh, okay. I like it.
What's
I don't know. I'd go a wrap, like a duck wrap,
okay.
Diet Coke, and paprika, the Ridge cut crisps, the McCoy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I like to switch it
I'd
up.
rate that like maybe a 6 out of 10.
Okay, thanks. I'll try harder.
Take it.
Um, now let's do this or that. West End or Broadway?
West End.
Love it. Um, summer or winter?
Summer.
A hot drink or a cold drink?
A hot drink. No, no, a
Yes,
cold
it's
drink.
weather dependent, so
Weather dependent, but cold.
yeah. Okay. Um, a play or a musical?
A play. No, I'm joking. A musical.
Imagine if you turn around and said play. Uh, um, Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok.
Yes. Morning or night?
Morning.
Eating out or meal prep?
Eating out.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Holidays abroad or a UK getaway?
Holidays abroad.
Ice lolly or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
And last but not least, would you rather be a choreographer or a director?
A director.
That was a good quickfire question round.
I was very like certain of my answers there.
Yeah, we learnt a lot about you there, so thanks for that. And the last question I always ask my podcast guests is if you could invite someone to come on my podcast and I'll reach out to them, who is it?
Um, oh my gosh. Lizzie B. It's got to be Lizzie B.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. I will reach out because,
Get her on here.
yeah, that would be a great episode. Lots to chat about. And thank you so much, Hannah. It's been
Thanks
great.
for having me.
Finally, we got it done.
Yay.
Thank you to everyone listening. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Go follow Hannah, go see everything that she's doing because she is a real queen, not just a queen of six, a real queen. So get on it, go and give her all the love, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you, Hannah.
Bye.